Hi, everybody! This film depicts the tale of a gifted American Oxford alumnus who utilizes his audacity expertise to establish a cannabis kingdom by taking over the estates of destitute British nobles. He eventually seeks to sell his empire to a fellow American tycoon, but a series of events ensue involving blackmail, deceit, violence, and murder among street thugs. In the end, he manages to sell his cannabis business and achieve peace. The story revolves around Mickey Pearson, a notable drug lord in the underworld. Despite receiving a prestigious Rhodes Scholarship to Oxford, he chose to abandon his studies and pursue a life of immense wealth and power. Raised in poverty, he capitalized on selling marijuana to affluent students and criminals and didn't shy away from using force against anyone who opposed him. Having established a thriving cannabis empire, Mickey Pearson aims to sell his business for a large sum of money, hoping to retire and live peacefully with his wife, Rosa Lind. An American billionaire named Matthew Berger expresses interest in buying Pearson's business for £400 million. To showcase the value of his business, Pearson takes Berger to one of his labs located in the basement of a cash-strapped noble's estate. The lab produces top-quality marijuana that sells for a high price on the market, impressing Berger. When asked why he wants to sell his profitable business, Pearson expresses concern about the police discovering his criminal history and destroying his enterprise. He concludes that it's better to sell the business and retire peacefully than risk everything being taken away. After Pearson explains his situation to Matthew, the latter asks to see where the marijuana is processed before being sold. The scene shifts to Big Dave, an editor for the daily print tabloid, who is angry with Pearson for refusing to shake his hand at a party. Dave hires a private investigator named Fletcher to spy on Pearson and investigate his relationship with Lord Charles Pressfield. Fletcher agrees, but asks for a high price. Meanwhile, Dry Eye, the right-hand man of Chinese crime boss Lord George, is checking container documents with his men. Dry Eye is involved in smuggling goods and people, including running a human trafficking operation. One of Dry Eye's men informs him of Pearson's plan to sell his marijuana business. Dry Eye expresses interest in buying Pearson's marijuana business, despite Pearson planning to double the selling price. Meanwhile, Pearson's wife, Rosalind, who owns a successful car repair business, reminds him to be cautious and not act rashly after retiring, as his business will be vulnerable to competition. Soon after, Dry Eye visits Rosalind at her workshop, revealing that some of the parts she bought were contraband from him. He asks to meet with Pearson, but Rosalind can't promise anything. Later, when Dry Eye approaches Pearson to make an offer, Raymond, Pearson's right-hand man, asks him to leave due to Pearson's discomfort. Pearson imagines how he might harm Dry Eye if he doesn't leave soon.
You're out of touch, and I would like you to consider an offer.
Pearson has become more cautious and less reckless, and considers Dry Eye's offer to buy his marijuana business. However, a group of highly trained young martial artists break into his lab, stealing a van full of marijuana and posting a rap video online. One of Pearson's guards informs him of the incident, and Pearson discovers that the thieves were a group of amateur MMA fighters and YouTubers called the Toddlers. Pearson removes the remaining cannabis plants from the plantation and asks Lord Snowball for help in moving them to a safer location. Meanwhile, Raymond investigates how the Toddlers found Pearson's lab. The Toddlers' coach reprimands them for stealing from Pearson and orders them to delete the video they posted, expressing shock when he realizes that the stolen marijuana belonged to Pearson. Lord Snowball agrees to help move Pearson's cannabis plants, but requests a favor in return. He asks Pearson to locate his daughter Laura, who is a missing heroin addict. Pearson assigns Raymond to find her, and he eventually locates her living with other addicts in an apartment. During a scuffle with her flatmates, one of Raymond's men accidentally pushes a young Russian man named Aslan off the balcony, resulting in his death. The incident is recorded by a group of young men who refuse to give up their phones. Raymond initially offers to buy their phones.
Full bag. Then I'll be gone, like the darkness at dawn.
How about you give us that bag and be gone anyway?
But when they refuse and involve a local gang, he resorts to violence to obtain them. After Raymond locates Lord Snowball's missing daughter, Laura, she dies of a heroin overdose. The Toddlers' coach visits Raymond to apologize and offers to make amends by fighting for him. Raymond also asks him to investigate who gave his students the location of Pearson's lab.
So it's fuck.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, anyway, he's the kid that gave us the skunk farm job.
Coach discovers that one of Dry Eye's henchmen, Fu, was responsible, and Raymond interrogates him. Fu dies in a failed escape attempt, and Raymond informs Pearson that Lord George may be behind the attack on his lab. Pearson confronts Lord George and destroys one of his heroin labs, causing Lord George to offer to buy Pearson's business. Pearson sees the offer as demeaning, as their businesses are not identical. After Lord George orders the execution of Dry Eye, one of his henchmen kills Lord George instead, making Dry Eye the new crime boss. He still hopes to acquire Pearson's business empire. Pearson narrowly avoids being assassinated in a cafe, but is saved by Raymond. He rushes to his wife's place, where Dry Eye attempts to rape her, but she fights back and kills his men. Pearson arrives and fatally shoots Dry Eye as he tries to assault his wife. Later, Fletcher meets with Raymond and reveals that he has obtained information that could damage Pearson's business empire. Big Dave orders Fletcher to tell Raymond that Dry Eye has teamed up with Berger to disrupt Pearson's business and lower the selling price. Fletcher seeks higher pay from Raymond for this information. Upon receiving the information, Raymond directs the toddlers to apprehend Big Dave. They drugged the man and filmed him making a sexual act with an animal and threatened to post it online unless Big Dave stopped his investigation and made nothing public about Pearson and his men. Pearson and Berger reunite at a frozen fish factory, a facade for Pearson's cannabis distribution. Berger asks Pearson to reduce the selling price to $130 million due to their conflict. However, Pearson knows of Berger's plans and reveals Dry Eye's frozen corpse, warning Berger that he is defending his empire. Pearson forces Berger into a refrigerator and demands $270 million in compensation for his crimes and restoration costs. He also demands a pound of flesh from Berger as compensation for the attempted rape of Rosalind. Fletcher visits Raymond for payment, but Raymond reveals he has been tracking him and orders the toddlers to steal evidence from him. Fletcher confesses to selling information about Pearson to Aslan's father, a former KGB agent. Agent Fletcher reveals that the hitman who Raymond killed was hired by Aslan's father. Coach saves Raymond from 2 Russian hitmen while Pearson is kidnapped by 2 other Russian hitmen, but is rescued by the toddlers. Later, Fletcher pitches a film about Pearson to Miramax and is arrested by Raymond. Pearson and Rosalind celebrate their success in their respective businesses. The film explores the themes of loyalty, betrayal, responsibility, and the consequences of being involved in the criminal world. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.